today I'm going to show you how you can draw a 1 by 1 inch grid on a piece of paper. So I have my ruler and I have my pen. I would recommend that you use a pencil, but I'm going to use a pen so you can see this easier on the camera. First, I want to point out something important with your ruler. You need to look carefully at your ruler, the material it's made out of, maybe the brand. You'll notice with this ruler, it's a wooden ruler, and there is a very, very thin gap from where the edge of the ruler starts to where 0 starts. So with this particular ruler, 0 is the first long line on the ruler. 0 is not the physical edge of the ruler. So that is something to keep in mind. Sometimes there is not a gap there, and sometimes there's a larger gap there. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to draw the 1 by 1 inch grid. I'm taking my ruler. I'm being very aware and careful to line it up, not with the actual edge of the ruler, but with the edge of that first long line, which represents 0. And above each one of these marks, or each one of these inches, I'm going to put a mark above the long line next to the number. This long line represents the inch. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I don't need to put a mark at 11 because that's the end of the paper. I'm going to simply slide the ruler down. I'm not turning or flipping it, just putting it near the other end of my piece of paper. The ruler looks pretty straight. I'm making sure it's lined up correctly on the left. I'm going to put those marks again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again I don't need to do 11. Now I'm going to rotate just my ruler, line it up to 2 marks that are directly opposite each other on the piece of paper. Again, I'm using a pen so that this will show up easier for you, but you should use a pencil in case you make a mistake and need to erase it. When you use your pencil, you should press very, very lightly with the pencil so that it is easier to erase. And I'm simply repeating this step all the way across my piece of paper. And I'm being very aware, making sure that my ruler is always touching both of those dots or those small marks that I made in order for the line to be straight and be accurate. Now, I can turn my paper this way. I'm going to line up my ruler across this edge of the piece of paper, and I'm going to repeat that step, lining it up carefully along the left and putting a mark above each one of the inches. And I don't need to put one for number 8 because we've reached the end of the paper. Sliding this down to the opposite end, repeating those steps. I'm going to turn my ruler, line it up, and I've got one more right here. Now you can see each one of these boxes, I can even check a random one, is 1 inch by 1 inch, and now I have a consistent grid that I could use for a grid drawing project. Thanks for watching.